Hello?
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 If you can hear this, it's not too late. I return to warn you. This is Time Pop, a podcast that discusses time travel and pop culture. There are spoilers. I've seen the future, and nothing is sacred to these folks. Your past, present, and future are sure to be ruined. Even if you could go back in time, as I have, you will never forget what you are about to hear. You've been warned. This is Time Pop.
Business.
Welcome, Chrononauts, as we guide you through the experience of time travel? Using pop culture as our 7 holes. We will be your constants. I am Dez.
I'm Ari.
And I'm Scott.
And that makes this
Time
Pop.
Pop.
Today in the present, we will be discussing Quantumania.
What?
Wow.
I didn't realize it till the end of the movie when they say, you just watched, and then Ant-Man and
He's in
Quantumania
Quantumania, yeah.
was all big. I was like, oh, that's kind of cute.
Pretty clever.
Ant-Man and Wasp, Quantumania. And I know what all of you are thinking out there. Is it time travel?
Yeah, the big question.
Is it time travel or is time travel an element inside the film?
There you go.
And where do we draw a line? Yeah.
So yeah, we were really debating whether or not we wanted to review this movie because there really isn't any time travel in there. There is a teeny tiny little speck of it, which qualifies it to be on our podcast. But it's also an opportunity for us to talk about, what are they called?
Alternate universes.
Alternate universe. There we go. Parallel universes. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah, we've been toying with spreading, because we are, I know we are technically a time travel movie, but in theory we are just time pop. And I think this definitely falls into the time category. And we've been messing around. Ari and I have been trying to figure out how to slip in some time-ish. And so a movie that discusses time travel seemed like a pretty good bridge.
I mean, yeah, you could suggest that, multiverse, if you go to another alternate universe and it's your world, but in a different time period, that's one way to time travel.
And that would qualify as being time travel.
Right. I mean, it's weird to think that you'd have all these universes at the same time going along the same timeline and the same exact things are happening with variations. I would imagine there'd be much bigger variations.
Well, anytime we've seen a movie recently that has alternate universes, parallel universes, I try to pay attention to see if it is a different time. Like they go to another universe and it's the 50s or it's the future. And the ones we've been seeing recently, none of them have. And it's like, oh, darn.
So is that the difference between... So I guess parallel would always be that way if you had like alternate universes or something, maybe.
Yeah.
So, I mean, so I'm going to play my comic book nerd card.
Yes.
So Marvel's been dominating this concept. Everyone else is doing this. So DC developed this concept of multiverse in the 80s. In 1985, they needed a way to explain the fact that they had Superman had been around since 1935. He was also today, and like things had changed with what's even the original Green Lantern. And so they did the multiverse. And in Earth 1 is like, well, we know in current, I think actually we were Earth 2 maybe. Got it. There's an Earth Prime. There's one that was like still in the 50s and 60s. And that's how they could show stories of like the OG superheroes. And then there was one now, and then there was like another in the future. And that was a way that they did to like deal with all of it. And then of course they decided to reinvent the universe. They had a big bad guy like a Thanos that like turned all the universes into one. And then they kind of reinvented their timeline.
Okay.
Very original in 1985. And now it's been done a million times.
So they did it first and then Marvel jumped on the bandwagon.
Marvel just perfected it cinematically.
Yeah.
But that was the first that I'd been exposed to a multiverse theory. And but that also involved time travel in that sense, right? That some universes it was still the 50s and some were now. There it is. Nerd card dropped.
Boom. Well, and I think I said this last time too, like, I mean, it sounds like DC actually said like it's the 50s and all that, but like even if they're parallel, it's easy to imagine some universes like gaining technology faster. Like basically, even though it's 2020 in the other universe, they have, whatever.
The whole concept or the whole theory of parallel universes for a lot of, either scientific or for stories is in choices. So you have a choice between A and B, and you choose A and you go off on that universe. And then in another parallel universe, which is the exact same time, you choose B and it goes off in parallel, and, whatever outcome happens depending on that choice. But as far as time, yeah, it is exactly the same time because it's parallel.
Which we get a big dose of in the probability storm.
Yeah, that was an awesome scene.
That was fucking cool.
That supports our argument of discussing this today. I mean, he's seeing other possible outcomes of his self, which
You know who supports this conversation, Scott?
the president.
Me. Let's talk about it. Let's throw it on the table and discuss it. This is what we do.
Yeah, so for our listeners out there, we are definitely talking a little bit more about alternate universes, parallel universes. We will talk a little bit of the tiny little bit of time travel that did happen, or that they did talk about briefly in the movie. But, you can't be into time travel and not be into parallel universes. So we think you guys will still appreciate it.
And it's definitely going more towards time travel. I assume you guys stuck around for the last stinger.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's right. That was more time travel. That's true.
Yeah. So is our fellow comic book nerd, is Kang a real baddie in the comic books? Is he a true source?
Yeah, he's a big badass. He's a force to be reckoned with. It's funny, we're so used to Thanos, like, this guy's not going to be Thanos. And then when he comes out and kind of obliterates everybody with all that tech, and you're just like, oh, okay, he's unstoppable.
It is like they need to find another motivation besides destroying everybody to save everybody.
Yeah, they're trying to do the sympathetic villain, right?
What? Why is he trying to save everybody?
He's saying that all the other Kangs are he'll create order by ruling the universe and destroying the other Kangs because they'll tear it up.
Oh.
By eliminating all these other universes, he'll eliminate chaos and war between that'll tear the fabric of space.
But just that one Kang is saying that, not all of them.
The other ones want to dominate. I mean, yeah,
But together.
they're all bad.
No.
Bad Kang.
Well, I guess they're obviously in some kind of cahoots.
Yeah. Well, they had a conference.
Well, whether they're destroying Kangs or not, his motivation is to save life by taking a huge chunk of it out and reducing the chaos so he can control it. And then everyone will be happy and safe and they'll love him.
Very Thanos-esque, yeah.
So it is the same. Okay.
Yeah. And it's a very different way that he's going about it. So I'm fine with it. But there's a couple other movies I feel like recently where that's been the driving force.
Yeah. I feel like alternate universes is the new time travel in movies. Like time travel started to be in everything, and now alternate universes are starting to be in everything.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at it because it's an awesome concept and I love it, but it's interesting how trends go.
It brings up the short that Ari and I mentioned before in the past, the one that's called is it 1 Minute Time Machine?
Yeah.
It's a short, and that's a really great example where he keeps trying to hit on her, and then when he fails, he like presses the button, goes back a minute, and doesn't at the end. She says how romantic it was because when he keeps pressing the button, the version of him in an alternate universe is dying, and how many versions of him are dying out there.
Oh.
But it's a really good example of some of the theory of that your decision making an alternate universe.
How long is the 1 minute time machine? Like how long is the short?
It's like 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's like less than 10 minutes or something.
It's like 10 minutes, and it's like it handles a smart time traveling rom-com in a 10-minute short. It's pretty impressive.
But it shows time travel and it shows alternate universes.
Together, yeah.
Together. It's really good.
We need to do the 1 minute time machine, and I haven't seen it in a long time. I know I would love to watch it and talk about it. The Rob Lowe Volvo commercial.
Ha!
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
Fucking amazing. It's for an 8 minute short. Like the snake that eats its tail is really, really well done.
I think we saw that. Didn't we see that?
I have a hunch because it was early on in the podcast where I came across it, and like that was one of I like shared it with all my classmates and everything, and all that stuff. And maybe maybe sometime we there's probably a couple other shorts out there too, and we could bang out some mini episodes or something.
Yeah.
Just to have some different things to talk about. But even more than like, this, being, pseudo time traveler or whatever, they go into the quantum realm where time doesn't exist at all. which is, to me, a harder concept to understand than time moving faster or time moving slower.
Did they say that it doesn't exist at all, or just
They said it's outside of time and space.
Yeah.
it's outside of time and space? So
So there's a few
time
loopholes
still
there.
moves forward, right?
Well,
Because
there's some loopholes. Well, Michelle Pfeiffer was in there for 30 years and she aged. However, when Ant-Man was in there, he was in there for like 2 years, 5 years, and he came out and he was like, for him, it was an instant.
it was
So
like 10 minutes or something.
yeah, a
Yeah.
little inconsistency there. And I like maybe the idea the universe can be inconsistent. They also said that like if you're down there, you go mad within seconds. And now there's just civilizations building cities out there and restaurants. And
Well, they also talked about there were different levels
yeah,
or layers. So
so maybe that was it's called the void, right? Maybe the void is where you lose it. But if you go underneath that, there's like a whole other world.
like even smaller. Yeah.
Because you have to assume that, like, I mean, everything has to be made of something. And so there has to be a quantum realm to the quantum realm.
Yeah. Smaller and smaller.
There is a Rick and Morty episode that deals with the same material. Just small universes built inside of other universes.
So here's the question, everybody. Are we another universe's quantum realm?
That is the question. Yeah.
Our whole Milky Way galaxy can be on like the tip of a bubble of someone's milkshake.
Yeah. That's the whole concept in Men in Black, right?
And since that fucks with time so much, our whole universe could exist in the span of someone's bath.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an interesting concept. When they first went down there and there was this whole universe, I didn't like it at first. I don't know. It felt, I don't know. I don't know if cheesy is the right word. And, it's stealing the style from so many different other movies. But then the more I watched it and the more I kind of thought about it, yeah, we don't know what is out there, either really big or even really small. And everything is made of something, and that something is made of something. And why couldn't there be, a universe microscopic on the quantum level, smaller than the quantum level? I think the thing that got me the most was that there were humans down there.
Yes. Yeah, I kept waiting for them to say that they were from an ancient civilization that got shrunk somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah, not just that bipedal
Yeah.
humans
It's
are
I
just
feel like
there.
every creature down there should have been different.
Yeah. They should have looked like amoebas. Like the
Yeah.
pink guy with the holes. They all should have looked like that.
Yeah.
I'm kind of with you, Ari, though, when my first thought was like, I think it's too much.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Does everything have to be weird?
Yeah, it was.
But it wasn't. But some things were weird. But then it's like, here's a bar, here's a restaurant, this is the building we live in. Like it's all kind of just reflections of our own culture. I would just like to think it's, stranger than that.
So going back to those like levels and layers that they kind of talked about, that's where the time travel occurred in this movie.
Yes. Yeah. Get into that.
As they were shrinking down, they talked about the ants, and just the ants passed through one of these layers, and correct me if I'm getting this wrong, and were within that layer, they were like, time got weird and they were in that layer for 1,000 years and built a civilization and got technology and got really smart, and then passed through that layer into the layer where the movie happened.
Because they basically developed the technology. So you think the size of us gets shrunk down to the quantum realm, and then you take an ant and you shrink it the exact same amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be... I mean, we're already at a microscopic level, so I don't even know what the fuck to call it. But I think it's just based on size. You shrink an ant 1,000 times, you shrink a human 1,000 times, and the ant's going to be...
But we're not 1,000 times bigger than an ant.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But whatever it is, though, it's the ant is... You can still imagine that the ant is going to shrink into a quantum realm that's smaller than the human quantum realm.
I think they're just suggesting that there's all kinds of random patches and the quantum realm doesn't make sense. And some parts are different timelines than others, and some will make you lose your mind. I think it's supposed to be like the Wild West out there.
Yeah, that's kind of how I took it. But it is interesting, Desmond, that it was just the ants that got stuck in that 1,000-year side story,
Deus Ex Machina.
And I knew it. You know me, I'm just like watching a movie and not thinking ahead at all. And the second the ants got sucked into the quantum realm, like, oh, there's our heroes right there.
Yeah.
Which they always are in an Ant-Man movie anyways, but especially this one.
So they experienced 1,000 more years than
In a day.
the humans, and I'm assuming that these ants procreated, and it's not the original ants if it's 1,000 years.
Oh, they developed a whole socialist society.
Yeah, and got really smart, and so that was interesting. That's definitely a form of time travel. It's
Yeah.
Futurism, which is cool.
And it makes me think of Interstellar. Oh, there it is. Has there been an episode where I don't say Interstellar?
Never.
That's like, how do I find its way in? But I like the concept of, with gravity or in a corner, that what people experience in time in one little bubble is different than another. That someone's 1,000 years is equal to someone else's one day. It's interesting.
So what was I think I forgot to write down what it was actually called. The
Time dilation?
the time sphere?
Oh.
The ball, the engine to his machine.
Because that was a time thing. Like, was he going to use that to travel through time? Was he going to use?
Oh yeah, his ship, Kang's ship can fly through any time, any universe.
Yeah, I'm just trying to talk about that ball. I'm having trouble remembering anything about it all of a sudden. But if there's any time travel, it existed inside that sphere that Janet blew up, and then Scott got trapped in for a while, and then I just couldn't remember exactly how it worked. But that was just basically his power source, and it allowed him to do whatever the fuck he wanted.
Yeah, he's got technology from way in the future. I like what he talks about. So he sees time differently, right? And I think that's all pretty interesting for us, that he does not see it as linear, and he knows the end and the beginning, and how that would make a person feel pretty lonely and also communicate. I mean, we bring this up a lot too, right? Dr. Manhattan in The Watchmen, who sees all time at the same time, and like what that does for your brain and the way you understand time and the point of living probably gets to be very different.
Because his point was kind of like we all just end up dying anyways, and I guess that's his motivation. Because if maybe he thinks that the reason we're all dying is because the multiverse is just slamming into each other and creating the chaos that it destroys us, and if he calms that chaos, then maybe not all universes have to end the way he's seen it a million times.
Sounds like he's seen some big cataclysmic ending. It looks like he used to be like an Earth scientist, discovered the secret of time, traveled around the universe, all these timelines, and knows the ending, and now is trying to prevent all the universes from like imploding on each other and destroying each other.
As always, Bill Murray shows up to grace our screen. That was awesome. I liked seeing him. I thought he was going to be a big deal. It was funny when I loved how he died, because they were eating those live squids, and she made one of the squids huge.
And they ate him. Yeah. What did he say before he had the drink too? He's like, if you want to change something about yourself, you'll have one of these or something. You want to?
Yeah, these are a life changer. Time is a cage trying to break you until you free yourself.
That's what King says.
That's what Kang said. Yeah.
Do you guys remember why the other kings banished him to the quantum realm?
I'm trying to remember if they said why. I think they maybe were concerned about him.
Because I think, he must have been the only one that was
trying to destroy everything.
Because I don't think it was the Kangs that put Kang in the prison. It was another universe, because he was out destroying universes, and I think some universe got a hold of him and threw him in the pit.
They said it was the Kang. The other Kangs.
Why did they welcome him back so gracefully then?
They didn't welcome him back.
At the very end?
He died. They didn't welcome. They brought in every other Kang from every other universe.
But when they're in that huge Coliseum and it's nothing but Kangs?
Nothing but Kangs. Yeah, not the one that we know, just all the other Kangs.
That one died, right?
No.
He died or got trapped, or he's trapped.
Well, we don't know what happened to him.
He was in the Coliseum. He was...
No.
He was trapped inside the ball.
Huh.
Yeah, he got shoved in the ball. That's not him. They brought all the alternate Kangs. They look like him because they're him.
Okay.
Some of the small variances and some don't, but that's not him.
By the time that happened, it was midnight, so I was a little woozy.
I predict that the bad Kang is gonna come back. It's gonna escape from the ball.
Or they're just totally. Because even Scott at the end, he stops, and because he died in the when they're in like the multiple choice. Isn't that what happened? Didn't he like start splitting off into the where Scott, because when Scott was in the ball,
Oh, you're talking about the probability?
the probability. Yeah, didn't Kang get caught in a probability storm?
No, he wasn't in there.
He got kind of micro shoved into the orb.
But the orb is a we know that inside the orb is a probability storm because Scott was in there, which means there's a billion probabilities and only takes one of those billion probabilities for Kang to get out.
Yeah, I mean, that's what Scott was walking at the end. He's like, we killed Kang, didn't we? He's like, did we? But then he also said that if we did kill him, the other ones were worse and they would destroy everything. And that's why he did that. Nah, it'll be fine.
I think this Kang is coming back. I think one of the billion probabilities inside the time bubble is going to spit him out.
Because the Kang at the end of Loki already died, and then this was an alternate one. I mean, they could go either way. They could totally have an alternate one be just as bad, or they could have him come back. But I did like the probability field. There's a little element of that, of like seeing all of your possible choices at the same time. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
I wanted more stuff like that.
Yeah, that was a cool scene.
Probability storm. And they talked about the Schrodinger's cat thing, but I was talking to Ari about that, and that doesn't really seem to apply, right?
Well, I mean, they throw around the Schrodinger's cat when it has something to do with choices or with not knowing an outcome to something. So, Schrodinger's cat inside the box was both dead and alive at the same time because you don't know what happened. And as soon as you open the box, you will reveal whether it's dead or alive. And the way that connects to, I'm pretty sure the way that connects to quantum entanglement, the true quantum entanglement, is the two elements that are connected, whether nearby or not elements, sorry, particles across the universe.
Science.
Yeah, one of them is one way and the other one will be the other way, but
dipoles.
I am butchering this. I don't know the true.
I'm looking at it right now.
But the minute you reveal one, then you know what the other one is, right? Because they're entangled.
It's even more philosophical than anything else. But then it's saying that the cat is in fact alive and dead.
Yeah, it's both. It's both.
Because both possibilities exist.
Yeah. And so, when it's just two options or two choices, yeah, you can talk about Schrodinger's cat. But in the probability storm, there were thousands of options and things that could have happened. So it was interesting that they threw that around for that scene. It didn't make sense.
Well, because at that point, yeah, you don't. I mean, we know because we're watching the movie which Scott is going to win. But, in theory, you don't know which Scott is going to win that battle. And that's, again, why I come back to the fact that Kang is alive, because Kang is also dead. And until they open the box and stab him,
right,
he's both alive and dead.
Yeah, it's interesting that he gets all his powers from his technology, and that him by himself is just a regular guy.
Is he just a total? I couldn't quite figure that out. Because he was definitely strong, though.
He's a human. And so at the end, I think they're fighting him in the 20s when he's just kind of philosophizing about his theories of time travel. And then I guess he figured something out. But I believe he's human originally.
At least in a lot of the timelines, he's human. I know at the very end, with all the different Kangs, there was like a lizard Kang and different alien Kangs.
So many Kangs.
So many Kangs.
This is all definitely, this is time travel because, as we've learned through 80 movies, just say the word quantum. How does time travel work? Quantum.
Yeah, I was a little frustrated that they were throwing around quantum entanglement completely incorrectly. Like, that's not what it is. That was frustrating.
Big words.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just general thoughts on the movie.
It was entertaining. It was visually stunning. I like how they introduced Kang. His whole story and stuff was fun.
I'm excited to see, more of him show up down the line.
It was I read some people call it Star Wars for Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I expected this was like the whole Marvel universe has been so disjointed in this phase. Like they haven't done anything to tie it together. I was like, this is gonna be the one. And it doesn't really. I mean, it just introduces Kang, but it's its own standalone story. And it felt a little to me like Star Wars, like Flash Gordon. It's just kind of like
Tron.
Yeah. And even and it seemed to pull. There was like Mad Max elements, there was Tron elements of those guards and like the club that they were in, and obviously Star Wars. And it's like there's a big baddie and everyone's split up and they're suffering and they all have to revolt and start the revolution. And
do you think they'll maybe do more of this to reboot it a little bit. I mean, Marvel can't just keep going forward forever. I mean, they're going to have to replace actors if nothing else, which this would be a great way to do it.
What do you mean? I mean, the first Avengers movie is going to be in it, I think 2 years, and it's called the Kang Dynasty. So they're going to bring everyone together for this one.
They're going to get everyone back, all the same actors, all the same.
No. I mean, it's they've been introducing like half of them are like
women,
young females. Yeah, right. Like the new Ms. Marvel and the new Hawkeye.
And his daughter is probably going to be the new Ant Woman.
Yeah,
we could get Tony Stark back.
Well, no, I think they have what's her name, Ironheart, that you saw in Black Panther. She's a female Iron Man.
Tony Stark.
And alternate universes.
Oh,
they're gonna move on.
Yeah.
If they do that, it'll be a different actor.
That's what I'm saying. They could use this as a way to replace actors and kind of do a mini, not necessarily a reboot, but they could just do a reboot of actors with this storyline.
In alternate universes. That's true.
Pull them in from different places, especially if universes are colliding. And
that's you get the X-Men in the picture, right?
Yeah. Kind of like how they did the Spider-Man movie with the different Spider-Mans who were different actors.
DC's going to do it this summer with Flash.
Yeah.
So fucking excited. We'll be doing Flash, folks.
Oh my God. We got to do Flash week.
Oh, yeah.
We got to just review it. I've been wanting to get a Flash movie since I was a little kid, and like Flash never got top billing, and the fact they ended up getting a series and like a movie and time travel in the Flash that's like my birthday. That's a holiday.
Scott's excited.
Are there any good time travel episodes in the Flash TV show?
So many, way too many.
We should do an episode or two.
Put it on the list, Scott. Find out which episode and just don't
so many. They time travel all the time.
Well, then whatever the first one is, where they a good explanation of what he's doing.
Yeah.
And how.
That'll be a good lead in to our Flash movie.
Yeah.
But this is good. While I was setting up and getting ready, I put on the original Ant-Man. I just forget how much I just love the whole Ant-Man storyline. I don't know. I love Paul Rudd, and I love seeing one of my lost people doing well. Well, seeing Evangeline Lilly, as Wasp is great. That always makes me happy.
There's no Luis in this movie, though. That's a people want Luis. That's messed up.
Who's Luis?
Luis, the friend of his who talks super fast.
Oh yeah,
it's like the best part of the films. Yeah. That's that hits hard.
I get it though, how he couldn't really fit in. It's only the 5 of them that got shrunk down.
Yeah, even as just like an opening scene, even if they got left out of the realm, maybe they could have got sucked into the ant world. We would have just seen them a little bit at the beginning and then see them come in kicking ass at the end with the ants. They would have advanced 1,000. Yeah, I guess they can't do. Because that's what I mean. I guess because if time doesn't exist, you don't age.
Yeah, but does progress happen? Yeah, because they're not all kids. Do kids turn into adults?
Yeah.
You're outside space. Do you grow? Do you learn things?
I don't think they said that time doesn't exist down there. I think they said that it is just very different and maybe moves,
Get outside time and space.
They specifically said outside of time and space.
Yeah, and this is a world outside of time. That's why they sent Kang there.
But I mean, if you think about it scientifically, you still have cells in your body that are dividing constantly, which is what aging is.
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
Hard to escape time entirely.
I think dying is a construct that we created as humanity.
Dying is a construct, but aging isn't.
Oh yeah, no, you'd still be 1,000,000 years old. You only die because your grandparents told you it was an inevitability.
Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do. Society told you to.
You got to get out of the way for the younger kids. They don't need you hounding them for fucking ever. Our kids need us out of the way.
I like this idea though of like, we're always exploring outer space and the concept of inner space having universes, but then it also is a pretty neat concept.
Well, they talk about, you take one single atom and the space between, the electron and then the middle of the atom where the neutron and proton are. They say the space between the electron, which is spinning around, and the middle part is enormous compared to the size of the electron and the middle, the neutron and proton. So what is in between that space? Yeah, that's the quantum.
Aliens with no holes.
Yeah.
Everyone knows How's that?
Exactly.
Would you be interested in visiting the quantum realm if technology allowed it?
Of course.
I'm concerned about, I like the idea they treated it originally that like time and space don't mean the same thing and you could lose your mind out there. And that would make me not want to go. I would like to think it's more like that. Like, I don't like the idea that they can use a walkie talkie and someone's in the quantum realm. Like, hey, how's it going down there? Oh, it's fine. Like, nothing, electronics shouldn't even work the same way. I feel like
No, there's so many things that shouldn't
so
work the
many
same
issues.
way.
But when the walkie talkies work, it's like, come on.
Radio waves don't move through the quantum realm.
Yeah, radio waves are enormous. And just the fact that they can breathe.
Oh my God, that's brilliant, Ari.
What?
Just I mean, yeah, I forget that like radio waves are things that actually do take up, like we can't see them because we don't live in the quantum, or maybe you could see them, maybe they're there, but
If you think about like what we breathe, which is oxygen, which is made up of atoms and the size of atoms, right? We need that to breathe. And then we go smaller than that thing that we need to breathe. So what are we breathing?
Because the oxygen's still huge, right?
Yeah, oxygen molecules, oxygen atoms are smaller or are bigger than you are. What are you breathing?
oh my God, that's brilliant.
Here's another question I have for you. If he's in this quantum realm and Ant-Man goes bigger, at what point is he just a giant in that world? At what point is he bigger and he's not in that realm anymore?
Yeah.
Yeah. At what point is he visible from our reality?
At some point now he's going to the other realms of biggerness, because that's what he just keeps getting bigger and bigger or smaller and smaller.
Are they just living in a square inch of our rug tapestry, or are they actually in a different universe?
So I would love to ask the creators, whether it's the writer, the director, the art director, I would love to ask somebody how come they didn't talk about or show anything to do with an atom, right? The whole idea of like quantum computing, which is a real thing, right? They're taking an atom and they're writing on it. They're doing math on atoms, on electrons and protons, which is the whole thing about quantum is an atom. And there was not one single image of an atom. There was not one single mention of an atom. But what they essentially did is got smaller than one atom. So this whole movie took place on one atom, smaller than one atom, but they never talk about it.
Because the atom is the DC counterpart to Ant-Man. And you'd be referencing the other hero version of himself.
But I mean, they did a good job of doing this whole concept without mentioning what it is.
You could just see him in the what writer's room, just being no.
You can't show like anything that even looks like an atom.
We're in a different realm.
Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you for listening to Time Pop. We hope you have enjoyed this journey around time. Please like, subscribe, and tell a friend about Time Pop. Check us out on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. We are at timepoppod, at time_pop_pod. Keep sending us great movie recommendations to timepoppod@gmail.com. You can also send any questions or comments from this. We got a hot new movie, people, and we need your answers about Quantumania. Send those to timepoppod@gmail.com. And I'm not going to tell you about any of our other fantastic podcasts to listen to because you need to go listen to more Time Pop.
Yeah.
That's what you need to do. And find what we're missing and tell us to watch it. Until next time, I'm Desmond McNeese.
I'm Ariel.
And I'm Scott Lipton.
Bye-bye.
See what I did there? Mixed and edited by Desmond McNeese for We Mixed It, LLC. Go to whatsoundsawesome.com.
Ugh, clever.